All right, we got the Denver Broncos at home against Atlanta Falcons. The Broncos are the favorite with a -2.5 point spread, which they have been playing really good. Should have won that game against the Chiefs, and they're at home, so I don't mind the spread for the last 3 or 4 games, because the Falcons, I don't know, didn't really show up to the Saints, but the Saints had the home field advantage and the new coach. And usually, when that happens, the first game, they play really hard for that coach and to show that they are a good team. And it was just the coach's fault that got fired. But we'll see how they do in Mile High. Let's just look at some stats here. 21.8 points per game in the last four for the Broncos offense. The defense has given up 22 points per game, which is a pretty good defense. The Falcons' defense hasn't been that great because they're giving up 25.3, but that offense usually scores a lot, which is 27.5. And I was surprised they didn't score more against the Saints, but they had a lot of opportunities and they just fumbled that game away because the Saints defense is not great. They have a lot of injuries. But like I said, they rallied around the new interim coach for that game. Passing yards per game, 216 for the offense for the Broncos. Defense is giving up 220 in the air. Falcons are 229 on offense, but 257 on defense, and that is their struggle. They would have lost by worse last week against the Saints, but Kamara dropped a wide open pass that was thrown to him, and he would have ran that in for a touchdown for sure. No one was even near him. But sometimes that's how the games go. Rushing yards per attempt is 5 for the Broncos offense, 3.8 on defense. Pretty good there for the defense. As we've been seeing the last few weeks, that defense is really, really good for the Broncos with Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator. But 4.4 on the ground for the Falcons. They struggle on the ground. And they give up 5.0, which is a lot worse than the Broncos defense. You can expect the Broncos to keep running the ball like they have done this year. Let's look at points per play. 2.2 for the offense for the Broncos, 3.0 for the defense of the Broncos. Falcons on offense are better. Points per play, 3.0. Tells you why they're doing pretty good, but they got a little worse defense with 3.2. So with the Falcons, their main problem is they got to outperform what their defense is giving up. Let's scroll over. No, let's not scroll. Let's look at total expected points. 1.1 for the Broncos for the last 4 games. Falcons 1.3. If you do the spread, that's a 0.2 spread. So rounding it, that's a 0 spread. So it's a toss-up game. With that, I think, and you're looking at 2.5 for the Falcons right now for the spread at DraftKings, and that is in the range for a Stanford long teaser. So you do a 6-point teaser and match it up with your other teasers you have chosen to do. Because for the Falcons, that would be 8.5. And since the toss-up game, that would be a good number. So even if they lose 8.5, you got the 7-point loss and the 3-point loss, and they can win. So I love to play dogs in the teasers because they have a lot more opportunities. If you play favorites in the teaser, it's not always that opportunity because you're looking, say, if you do Broncos, that would be a +2.5. And so I don't know if you want to, no, let's round it 3.5. Sorry. So you got the 3, but if they lose by more, so you want to get that number up high, so like 8.5 for the Falcons. So they have a lot of opportunity to lose, but the NFL, these games are all close. Let's scroll over here to game cards, 50-50 chance with our simulation, 0 spread. Kind of the same thing with total expected points. We got greens cards for each of these. We're looking at points per game. Falcons, probably. Passing yards, looking at Broncos because that Falcons defense is giving up a lot in the air. Rushing yards per attempt, as we talked about, Broncos should be fine with. The only thing you're worrying about is points per play, which Falcons are looking pretty good on that part. But just remember, these are the last four. But the Broncos have point differential. You want a negative number for point differential because I do negatives to positives because that's how they do the spread. So, and if you do spread out those numbers, that's a -3 spread for the Broncos for the last four games. There's a lot of ways you can look at these games and how you do your bets, but for me, this is a teaser opportunity for the Falcons for a 6-point teaser, matching it up with all your other teaser opportunities out there. If you gambled this game, good luck. My name is Jordy. You've been watching Betman Sports Betting, and I'll see you in the next video.